Good evening, everyone. This is Alexandra Meadors of galacticconnection.com, and tonight is February 6th, 2015. I have an on-the-fly interview with Kevin Annett, and I know many of you have been wondering, what's going on with Kevin? Where is he gone? What's he doing? What's happening behind the scenes? We haven't really heard a lot from him lately, and he's going to clarify all the good things that are going on behind closed doors, so to speak. If anybody has not checked out Kevin's website, it's itccs.org. And for those of you that are relatively new to his work, Kevin was not only nominated as a Nobel Peace Prize nominee in 2013, but many, many people out there know that his work as a field secretary for the International Tribunal into Crimes of Church and State has really launched him into one of the most valiant light warriors out there, really trying to bring forth and stop child sacrifice and satanic ritual all around the world. So today he has some news. First of all, I just wanted to say hello. How are you, Kevin? How are you doing in your travels?
I'm fine, Alexandra. Thanks for asking.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So I understand that you just released a new book called Samuel Wedge, Memoir of Necropolis. It sounds very intriguing. What's that all about?
Well, actually, the idea came from my dad, Bill Annett, who's also a writer. It's based on what happened, it's an autobiographical novel, kind of loosely based on my life. And Dad got the idea from reading a book called Joseph Anton that was written by Salman Rushdie, which, again, was an attempt through a novel to describe the really horrendous events in his life when the Ayatollah Khomeini put a contract out on his life after a book he wrote called the Satanic Verses. Now, Rushdie got a lot of support and publicity for that because the Islamic world was trying to kill him. Now, by analogy, Dad thought, well, the United Church of Canada, the government of Canada, and assorted other criminal elements have been trying to whack me for 20 years and have been doing a fairly good job, at least initially. So why not, write something that relevant about our own situation from your own kind of, using the license of fiction.
Right.
And it actually helps me go into areas that I couldn't when I'm doing the usual kind of factual description of things. Because, for example, I reconstruct what probably went on in those boardrooms in the United Church when they were trying to figure out how to deal with this whistleblower, right? Well, you go after his wife, you go after the people around him. So kind of putting on flesh what I knew all along, but you can never get confirmation on, but these things that happen, right? So I had a lot of fun doing it, and it's out now it's published by Author House in America. You can get it through Amazon.com and all the major bookstores. And yeah, I just think it's coming out at a good time that we're doing all this work on Kanata and all the great successes that we're seeing all over the world where more and more, child traffickers and that are being exposed, and people seem to be waking up finally to a lot of the stuff.
Yeah, it's big time. People are really becoming more aware of this. Can you do us a favor and hold the book up all the way to the screen so people can see it?
Yeah, I like the front photo. It's a churchyard.
Yeah,
very kind of
cool.
macabre. And of course, Samuel Wedge is the character based on me. And Memoir of Necropolis, or Necropolis being the city of the dead, refer not only to all those children who died, but also the kind of dead culture that could have done it in the first place, the spiritual, and it's kind of a theme running through the book of what it's like to be part of the dead, if you like, to try to wake up from this deadness that we're part of, trying to communicate with the dead who are not willing to listen about their own crimes or their own situation. I mean, it's that kind of metaphor all through the book.
Sounds very interesting, and I know you're just a phenomenal writer, so please, everybody, if you'd like to support Kevin's work and definitely support him financially with all of the work that he does in support of bringing down the child sacrifice, check it out on Amazon.com. And you can also read a little bit more about it on his website. So, Kev, tell us what's going on. People haven't heard from you in a while. In fact, I've gotten a couple emails where they're actually asking, did the whole debacle with Alfred Weber scare him away?
Well, I guess they don't know me very well, dude.
No,
But
they don't.
no, it was more. I think the whole thing with Alfred was more comic relief from my point of view. Watching all these people complain about me on the air and it passing off as kind of proof, exposing the guy. No, I haven't been on the internet much because of all the work we're doing on the ground. I've been doing a lot. To give you an example, with the Republic of Kanata, there's in Ontario, we have a number of branches that are forming. These are people actively going out and helping to disestablish the authority of the Crown in Canada.
Very cool.
There's a group of people, for example, going to Ottawa, the nation's capital, and they'll be serving the stand-down orders to the Governor General, who is the Governor General in Canada is the, quote, Queen's representative. He's the guy who runs the country. He's the head of state. And it's a colonial arrangement, and we're saying, well, your power is now null and void, guy. Goodbye. They're going to be staging a very public event when they do that. I mean, that's one example. But beyond that, training people in the common law, we've been setting up a program to train common law sheriffs so that people can act in their communities to enforce, for example, the verdicts, the standing arrest warrants against people who've been convicted of these crimes in Canada by common law courts. Not just about the Native children who died, but the child trafficking, other crimes that are occurring. And so I've just been doing a lot of the old-fashioned kind of on-hands community organizing, and also definitely stepping back from this kind of mad fury sent at us just, over the last couple of months, which was not accidental. It's this typical kind of takedown effort where you get people so distracted they lose their inner focus,
Right.
and the clarity that we really need right now.
Right.
So, no, actually, it's being nice now to be caught on that internet world, frankly.
It's funny because there were so many smear campaigns going on against so many major, higher profile people on the internet that people just started getting depressed. And I've actually had people write in and say, I don't even want to be on the internet right now. I don't want to participate in this. What I feel is going on now is there's just this huge blanket of peace, lying on top of the planet. And I was wondering how you're feeling about that. The last 5 to 7 days have just been phenomenal for me, anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I have a strong sense of that. I think it's what's happened, getting people to pull back from not just the internet, but their usual patterns. It's all for a reason for us to get that inner clarity again. I mean, I felt it as well. And I've been getting indications from other people as well that they know now that this is a time, when we talk about reclaiming the law, reclaiming the land, the first reclamation that has to happen is right here in ourselves.
Absolutely.
Our own minds. And this is something that I think events are prompting people to do more of now. So I think I know that's certainly the case with me.
Yeah, I agree. And, the other thing, Kevin, is for those that are super active and passionate about their specific roles that they play, or, for me, I've just always been super focused on motivating and keeping the ground crew focused and reminding them that they are masters, that are stepping into their new roles. I've been so focused on that I've recognized that during that whole flurry of chaos on the internet, it was a really good time for me to just pull back. I was actually grateful for it because it forced that to happen. I think it did for a lot of people. Nobody really wanted to be involved in that, frankly. And I'm not just speaking for you. I'm speaking for a lot of people that are involved in that kind of thing. So how are you feeling as far as the progress going on in Canada right now with all these changes? Do you see some external shifts going on in the Canadian government?
I think that the level you see it at is the willingness of the system to take what we're doing more seriously. We've seen that in the actions of police. The most famous case being with Kel Gadban, the Ottawa policeman who was head of the human trafficking division, who actually assisted us in disrupting one of the Ninth Circle rituals in Montreal. He unfortunately paid for that with his life. We were contacted recently by people in his extended family who agreed with us that they don't believe he took his own life, that he was killed. And that's one of the things that we're getting. The police are actually coming to us now with offers of assistance. And not just in Canada, you know, in the United States as well. And of course, in Europe, Interpol did use some of our evidence to actually arrest more than 1,000 people who were trafficking children. So you see at that level where individuals within the system are coming forward. The system as a whole will never respond. It can't. I mean, it's too bulky and controlled, you know, to do that. I mean, you know, the JFK story is still the official one, right, or the lone gunman. The system doesn't change the way it speaks or acts, but people within it do, and that sets up a tension in it that will eventually cause it to either come down or radically alter itself. Like what you saw happening in Rome. I mean, the extent to which the present so-called Pope has had to bend over backwards to make it seem like I'm really a nice guy. You know, the Catholic Church is really changing its image here, and you can trust us now, right? We won't harm any more children. That kind of lie being put out is in direct response to the fact that we've exposed so much. Mm-hmm. So that creates a real crisis of confidence in any system. There was interesting news item. The Sri Lankan bishops actually withdrew their invitation to have Pope Francis visit them. So the guy's plane had to literally turn around and fly away from Sri Lanka.
Wow.
And you know how much that's a reflection of other things going on, like the Vatican Bank money that's going into the BRICS Bank in Asia. There's divisions definitely within the Vatican over that and other things. So you see the whole system shaking, and people are beginning to jump ship for sure.
Wow, that says a lot that they would actually reject the Pope arriving there. I mean, wow, that's amazing. So do you actually feel that, is there a group of so-called, you know, I know you guys call them the Royal Mounted Police, right? Canadian Royal Mounted Police. Is there
That's not what
is there an actual group being formed amongst the police there?
There's not so much a group, but like just the number of people who will contact me. The fact that there was a dispute a couple of months ago in Vancouver, an environmental protest over a company, Kinder Morgan.
Right.
And we issued stand-down orders to the Mounties there, and they obeyed them. They stood back because they knew they were illegally arresting people. So the system is getting so weak that if you actually stand up in numbers and don't back down, they back down. And you didn't see that before. So that's another sign of a system in crisis, I think.
So what are you seeing in England? I know that they were starting a movement about getting their republic started. Any news on that?
Oh, well, it's constant interest for people wanting to do the same thing. England, like Italy, is very controlled police state. And there's a lot more, because they've been the source of the crime for so many centuries that they're very hyper vigilant and very repressive. But one thing that's indicative of their crisis too is that you notice this Prince Andrew, there was all this thing in the media about his being involved with child rapists. Mm-hmm. Now, when they start throwing their own to the wolves like that, that shows you that they're sacrificing their own people to save their skins. That's a sign of people falling out among themselves. And I think there'll be more of that coming for sure.
That's amazing. Any word about anything coming out from the Netherlands?
Well, it's funny you mentioned that, because I was just talking to some of the people in the Dutch People's Tribunal, including Toos Nienhuis, who is that eyewitness who saw the human sacrifices, the child sacrifices in the force of Belgium. She and others have been bringing a new case against a whole number of people who are going to be named soon in the political, not just the royal families in Holland and Belgium and that, but again, top officials of the government and the Catholic Church who are, I mean, when I try to describe to people what Toast witnessed and the evidence they have, it's mind-boggling, just what goes on at these rituals, and definite satanic overtones to all of this stuff.
That's crazy. I will definitely have to put you in touch with Tori Smith, who does a lot of not only remote viewing, out of body, and psychic kind of multidimensional travel, astral traveling, but he has attended quite a few of these child sacrifice ritualistic ceremonies, and he told me to tell you that he would be more than happy to talk to you. He has quite a bit of information to assist you with.
We'll do that.
Yeah, I think you guys should definitely connect. So, so tell us a little bit more about the Republic of Kanata. You mentioned that before nothing was getting out because somehow the website was sabotaged, right?
Yeah, the usual kind of attacks. The site's, you know, it's being reconstructed and all that, but it forces people to kind of take a local initiative when something like that happens. What happened on January 15th is that there was a proclamation of independence read. There was, essentially what's happened is over 1,000 people declared their willingness to act under a new jurisdiction, and that is to covenant to be part of a new republic and under common law. So for example, the courts, they're not acknowledging in an organized way the authority of the Crown, in essence, any Canadian laws. There's been some really interesting support coming from Quebec, because of course they've had their own independence movement for a long time. They have no love for the Crown of England, and there's you know, a lot of our stuff is being translated into French now and everything. But I think the important thing is to realize that this is coming from people in the grassroots. There's farmers on the prairies who are literally, they're talking to their mayor in their town about, you know, disaffiliating from the Crown authority altogether, nullifying, for example, their debts and mortgages. The Canadian Revenue Agency, which is like the IRS in America, using open fraudulent methods to get money out of people. I mean, just criminal methods. All of these are going to be subjects of common law courts that are convening. We're training people, like I mentioned, as common law sheriffs, who are really the foundation of the new republic, because they go out and they not only convene these courts, but they can make citizen arrests, they can issue stand-down orders to the existing police, and deputize them to be officers of the new republic. So it's, again, an idea that's spreading slowly, as anything does when it's from the grassroots.
Right. Right. It seems like we're going to need quite a few sheriffs to be able to accommodate the amount of traffic that will occur once people realize the meat behind common law. You know, I've often wondered, once people start looking into even the financial system and the fact that the mortgage industry is totally a scam, I can't even imagine, especially where we are at this point, there is a sense of freedom that I'm feeling right now, externally especially, from the assistance from above. And it's just a matter of, like, I don't know what, not a lot of time before those that are in the mainstream wake up. And I can't even imagine how deluged, you know, particular organizations like yourself are going to be. I mean, have you thought about how are you going to handle that?
Well, we're already in a position with the Republic that we cannot organizationally or administratively handle the level of response we're getting. Don't worry about that, because ideas are really the power behind us. It's not, the power doesn't come from our effectiveness as an organization, but rather as an organism, you know, gradually spreading and living and growing based on ideas and spirit. And so you tend to find, when you look in history, when revolutions happen, right up to the very day that the system falls, people are saying, oh, things are never going to change. People are too conservative. And then suddenly it's like this 100th monkey thing, bang, everything changes all at once.
Yeah.
And we're seeing, you know, I think spiritually and politically in many ways, that phenomena holds true. And we're right on the cusp of that. So now is the time for inner clarity to be able to, you know, make that move when it happens, when the door opens, to make the move definitively, because all of the attacks coming on us right now are designed to get us so fogged that we don't see that door when it opens. And you know, I think we're all learning that lesson.
Yeah. And I would put a call out to all of the ground crew members, guardians, light warriors, light workers, etc., who feel compelled to assist on the other side with protecting this movement, because, you know, all eyes are on what is going on with the Republic of Kanata, especially because it's received so much momentum. And, you know, Kevin and I have talked offline, and we couldn't get over the timing. Remember that when we made the announcement about the Burnaby Mountain situation? I mean, shortly thereafter, I mean, it was literally what, a day after you were severely attacked from a variety of different places. And, you know, and then it just went on from there. So, you know, we need to open our eyes, and even if you're the antagonist or the protagonist, all of us need to understand that we are still being the pawns in the divide and conquer scenario. We're here to get our freedom back. We're here to take our power back. We're here to become the leaders and the masters that we came here to be, because we have a lot of people that are just starting to come out of their slumber, and they're going to be looking to us for answers and that sort of thing. So, you know, Kevin, a lot of people have also written into me and said, you know, they just don't understand how you keep on keeping on. Did you kind of want to talk a little bit about, you know, what is it that just motivates you so much? Because I saw your last video and you looked exhausted, frankly. And I thought, oh my God, he's totally burning the candle at both ends. No surprise there. What keeps you going?
Frankly, I don't know. I do. Some part of me that has over the years that wasn't there before, it was definitely submerged my true identity, and it doesn't seem like a lot of work. I'm just doing what I feel needs to be done, and I don't really worry about it too much. I find a lot of people situation acquire that strength once they kind of let go of the ego, fear-based worry about oneself, and keep your eye and everything focused on simply the gravity of what we're in right now, and all those people out there who are going to suffer if we don't take this step. So I guess I'm too busy and dealing with too much stuff to worry about that very much.
Yeah.
So you know, it's not I can't give people a simple answer for that. It just seems to be happening for me.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's good.
Well, now, where do you feel at this point, you know, you've been quiet for a little while, what do you feel has been the greatest success story for you in the last month or so? What's been, like, really something you're going, whoo, yeah, I got this done, you know?
Well, I just think the launching of the Republic, because it isn't just a thing happening in Canada. That's the thing to understand. We get a lot of requests from Americans saying, can I be part of this Republic?
Yes.
And what I say to them is, really, the Republic of Kanata is everywhere. It's everywhere where people are taking back their sovereignty from the corporate system that's hiding behind this mask of nations. And look, we have the power now.
Yes.
Do a lot, take back our own mind. For so long, we're just giving an example of how we do that, and it's possible not to say it's always possible, but now in a very clear way, to say to the authorities that you don't have authority over us. It's necessary for now. We're more.
You know, Kevin, I don't know why, but all of a sudden I'm not being able to hear you very well. And what you said was very profound. Can you say that again?
Well, just that we've reached a point where not only are these corporate systems crumbling, but the agents within it are coming over to us. And we are saying it's time for you to change your allegiance now and start serving the people and Mother Earth. And once that happens, the whole deck of cards will fall. So this can happen anywhere in the world, not just Canada, and should be.
Do you feel like this is already starting to show itself?
Oh, it is all over. And one thing I should announce that I should have earlier is we're starting a new blog radio program on every Sunday, starting on Sunday, March 1st, at 3 p.m. Pacific time, 6 p.m. Eastern. It's called Radio Free Kanata. And it's going to be on BBS Radio, so bbsradio.com/Radio Free Kanata. We're going to be having the people on the ground doing this work being interviewed, featured every week. So people, by listening to that show, can hear the nuts and bolts of what people are doing, how they're doing it, how they're reclaiming Kanata and other places around the world. And we invite anyone with that kind of story of how to do it to come on, and it's really the official voice of the Republic, this program. And so that'll be Sunday, March 1st, it starts up.
That is so exciting. That is so exciting.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Yep.
I know. There's just so many exciting things going on. We really, truly are moving into the Renaissance. We really are. And it's people like yourself that we have to thank for the amount of, dedication and commitment that you've shown to take that torch all the way to the end. Now, do you feel that the Vatican is getting a message as far as these child sacrifice ceremonies? There has been word that they are starting to slow down a little bit because of the amount of attention and media coverage and the number of people that are coming out and actually exposing their own involvement in these sorts of things. What is your view on that?
I'm not sure whether the actual number is diminishing, but I know that the criminals doing this are much more on their guard. I mean, they're cowards, and so they're very easily influenced to hide. Even though they've got a lot of money and power, they're always looking over their shoulders. And we know that that's happening more. We know that the location of these child sacrificial rituals have had to move more often now because they're being exposed more. Police are feeling more willing to take action now that we've created a lot of pressure for them to do that, and governments. So they can't bury this anymore. And as a result, that's definitely going to save lives. But we shouldn't really rest on our laurels because this system is so pervasive, so lucrative, that it carries on. It just changes the location. So what we really need is, and to give you an example, we're hoping to convene a grand jury on the west coast of Canada to look into the specifics of how children are traded there. Vancouver and Seattle being very strong areas for this pan-Pacific kind of human trafficking ring to go on. We're going to be working on that, to bring up the details of that. And again, that's going to be reported on Radio Free Kanata every Sunday. Excellent.
Now, what is the whole scenario with the Pope at this time? I haven't been following it, frankly, in the last, say, month or so. What's the latest with him?
Well, he's he has been off the radar screen a lot, partly because the truth of his crimes are coming out more. There's been even members of his own family in Argentina who apparently have been giving evidence to police about his involvement in the children in the dirty there. But also, recently the Queen of confidant of the Queen of Holland came out and said that she personally bribed to the present Pope over €1 million in order to get her name changed, from the baptismal records in Argentina when he was Archbishop there. So there's, all of this stuff coming out now. So he has been hiding more off the radar screen, but he's also been doing that because of the role he's playing in this backing of the BRICS Bank and the use of a lot of Vatican money to do that. And that's been quite secretive. But there's been some talk about this in circles in Rome of how they're doing that. And so one of the reasons he's making a trip to America in September, he's going to Philadelphia and then to address the United Nations General Assembly I think that's in the third week in September. Uh, he's, desperate again for that political legitimacy to cover the fact of what they're doing. Like he needs America and England and others on board with him in this. And it's a whole geopolitical battle going on between the new East and West power blocks. And the Vatican, as they have over the centuries, are trying to play both sides. So that politically is a very important trip for him. And that's why we're going to be there trying to get the police and others in New York to help perform a citizen arrest on this man who's a convicted criminal and a convicted criminal organization known as the Vatican.
Wow.
Wow.
I'm like speechless.
Should be fun.
I know. And what? Any news on Ratzinger?
Well, he's frankly, people don't even know if he's alive anymore. He's hiding out inside the Vatican, not coming out because he knows he could be arrested. And again, it's hard. It's like the most secretive organization in the world, but we do get it from kind of sources on the margins.
That's crazy. Now, I imagine a lot of people are writing into you, asking a lot of questions and wanting to get involved. How do you have a screening process, or do you just take anybody that wants to jump in? I mean, how do you go about it?
Well, there is a screening process. The people who want to be involved in various parts of the work, we have what are called conveners, people who organize the work in a particular region, and we often just refer them to that person and they involve them in work and that. We don't really let anyone into the inner circle in the same way we don't let the identity of the judges, the court record, any of that vital information, we don't let any of that out publicly, despite all the pressure for us to do that.
Yes.
And all the criticism. Their lives would be snuffed in a minute if we ever did that. Right. So we've had a lot of that Drangheta and the mafia are extremely concerned about what we're doing now. And that they have people looking for me and others on a regular basis. And that, that's one of the reasons I didn't want to mention earlier, but one of the reasons I'm being less publicly visible is for my own safety and the safety of the work of our inner core, which is completely off the radar screen, nobody knows about.
Yes.
So, I mean, it's a more dangerous time, but again, that shows you the impact we're having.
Yeah, definitely. And I know you opted not to travel overseas for this very reason, and I think a lot of us are happy that you didn't do that. I think it's good that you're just kind of hanging low right now. But what are your plans for the future? Are you going to go on a speaking tour? Are you going to start, teaching? What do you see yourself doing in the future?
Well, my dream was always to get a little parish again somewhere and just be a country preacher, frankly. If it's just up to me personally. I always loved that. I miss the pulpit. I'd love to be a parish minister again somewhere.
Wow, I never knew that.
And
That's
teach.
Cool.
Yeah. But that's just kind of a personal dream. The reality is that I'm, I guess, too much, not only a demand, but my own inner demand is that I see this thing through to the conclusion. That's the purpose God gave me and has given me. But definitely in the coming period, like during February to April, during this time, I am seeing more people. My main work is meeting with local organizers and helping to enable them to enable others, through the workshops and others. I'll be doing some speaking, definitely. And I'm going to Europe again in April. Because there's more. We're working, one of the projects we're doing is the sequel to Unrepentant, called Unrelenting. We have some people willing to work on that with us. And, just documenting all of this work over the last 6-7 years, which is historic. I mean, it's very important to get this on record. But of course, I'll be doing book readings. I'm going to do a book tour for my new book, Samuel Wedge. And there'll be more news about that, itccs.org.
And we hope to be luring him out to the West Coast one of these days so we can go ahead and launch some of my ideas that I have with you. So.
Well, I didn't mention that, but yes, definitely. Yeah.
Hasn't been solidified yet because we all have crazy busy schedules. Well, is there anything else that you'd like to share with us at this time? I mean, I know this was kind of an on-the-fly thing to get you out there again so people know you're alive and well, but
Appreciate it. No, I'm just thankful for all the people who've been sending in a lot of their good wishes and love. And,
good.
it's funny how smear campaigns backfire very quickly. It doesn't matter how intense they are, they burn themselves out quickly because it actually, the old saying from P.T. Barnum, he said, I don't care what you say about me, just don't spell my name wrong. Because there is no such thing as bad publicity. The more you attack somebody, the more people go, wait a minute, what's this all about? Let's look into this guy. Well, thank you. Now a lot more people are listening. Especially when the criticism is so childish and based on hearsay and innuendo rather than anything real.
Right.
So, I just want to thank everybody who's been coming forward to asking if I'm okay and that whole thing. It's good to know people care.
Well, and the fact that, people have gone past the step of you're so loyal to your cause, and everybody, they're so focused on saving the children and bringing all that out to an exposure level, but forgetting possibly, the guy behind that whole movement. And, again, I can't say enough about how appreciative I am for all the work. I know how much work you do. I know what you've gone through, and it's pretty scary. There's a lot of people that would not be as fearless as you are, but so much of that has to do with you're so on fire with your love for God and your love for humanity and assisting the people, and that's where you and I really connect,
Right.
So,
Well, exactly, and I couldn't have said it better. So, thank you.
yeah, no kidding. Well, any other news that you can share with us? Any other good news as far as spreading the word?
Well, not that I can share at the moment, but there's a lot of things in process, and that'll be, again, just to remind people, some of this will be shared on Radio Free Kanata,
Okay.
every Sunday, 3 p.m. Pacific time. There'll be notices about that up at our websites. But, in the future, we can go into more detail about some of the bigger aspects of this, which are not especially easy to talk about. I've never really led with the spiritual aspect, because it's easily misunderstood unless people have common frames of reference. And
We'll go for it. I'm open if you are.
well, next time I will. I need some time to really prepare, so I'm speaking, from that place.
I agree.
But I think we can definitely do that soon.
Oh yeah, just get me on any couch and start talking about spirituality and God, and you can't shut me up, Anyway, well, Kevin, I love you, and I know that the world is totally feeling the same way, especially if they knew all that you do and how committed you are, and the earnestness and the fierceness of how you have continually stayed on track with this, no matter what has come your way. And I just honor you for that.
It's the children. It's as simple as the fact that children's lives are at stake. What else can we do?
Right. I know, these precious babies that are... Oh. Anyway, so visit, please, Kevin's website, itccs.org, and also he's got Republic of Kanata, right? That's supposed to come up someday soon when he fixes that, right?
Yeah.
And also his radio show on Sundays, Public Free Kannada, right?
Radio Free Kanata.
Radio Free Kannada. Sorry about that.
That's on bbsradio.com. Radio Free Kanata starting March the 1st, every week on Sunday at 3 p.m. Pacific.
Okay. So you guys, at least you now know he's alive and well, which is good news.
Thanks, Alexandra.
So take care, everyone. Thank you for listening in. And as always, thanks for all your support. I love you with all my heart. Continue to come up and visit the daily blog page. It's up there 365 days a year just to support you with any kind of enlightening or informative information. And as always, I wish you well. Have a great weekend. Take care. Bye.